Hey guys, so this week we're going to be taking a look at travel packs, and I'm particularly excited for this week's video because we're featuring a brand new bag from Aer. The item we're going to be taking a look at is the Aer Travel Pack 2, which is a part of Aer's new travel collection, which actually goes on sale today. And so, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you've probably heard me say many times that the original Aer Travel Pack is my go-to bag for one bag travel. I think it's the best all-around bag. I think the price was really great and I love the overall design and feel of the bag. And so I was super excited when Aer reached out to me to see if I wanted to test out the updated version of the travel pack. And I was also a little nervous just because they had hit it so out of the park with the first bag. I was scared that any substantial changes to it would make it a little bit less good than the original. And I have to say those fears were unfounded, as Aer has managed to deliver a very worthy sequel to what was already an amazing bag. It has the same great aesthetic, just with an updated, slightly sleeker look. It has the same great quality and features that we came to expect from the original travel pack. And it has a few new features that help make it an even more well-rounded pack than the original. And so I've been testing this out for a few weeks now and taking it on a few trips, and I have to say, I've enjoyed using it a bunch. I think Aer did a great job following up to the original travel pack, and I'm just really excited about the new travel collection overall. I think there's a lot of slick-looking new items there. All the original items from the travel line seem to have gotten a really nice facelift, and I'm really excited to hopefully feature some more of those on the channel in the future. So I want to go ahead and thank Aer for sending the bag for me to test out. As I mentioned, it's been really cool to be able to test it out for the past couple weeks, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So let's just go ahead and dive in and take a look at the Aer Travel Pack 2. So starting out with the overall aesthetic of the bag, I really like that Aer opted to try to keep a similar look to the original. The original Aer Travel Pack is one of the best looking travel bags that I've tried out in my opinion, and I really like that this kind of keeps that same design aesthetic and very similar to many of Aer's other awesome looking bags. If you're looking at the bags from afar, they'll actually look really similar. The main difference that would make it very easy to tell the difference between the original and the new bag is the lack of the second zipper here on the front. So the original travel pack had two quick access pockets. It had one really slim one here towards the bottom, and then kind of one that took up this middle section of the bag. Personally, I felt that that quick access compartment on the bottom was kind of hard to use in the past. There wasn't that much space and there wasn't that many things that would actually fit in there, so I typically used it for like a granola bar or something like that. But I think that for the sake of keeping a cleaner looking exterior, reducing the amount of zippers and just kind of clutter on the front, I think that the decision works pretty well. And the pocket that they've opted to go with here, starts at kind of the middle of the bag, so it's a little bit bigger. And overall, I think that gives it a really clean and sleek look that will fit in really well in a variety of environments. The bag is made out of the same great materials as many of Aer's other bags, so it has a really durable ballistic nylon material. All the zippers are YKK and they have really nice water resistance protection, so they have a really durable aqua guard on the laptop compartment, and the rest of the zippers also seem to have a fairly good amount of water resistance. One of my complaints with the original travel bag was that the zipper to the main compartment didn't have any sort of water resistance protection, so even though the tech pockets were protected, your clothes could still possibly get wet. So I really love that that's already been corrected in this bag. And so all around, the build quality of the bag is really great. It feels really sturdy, as I've come to expect from all the other bags that I've reviewed on the channel from Aer in the past. And so the bag will be available in a few different colors. I believe there'll be a gray and a multicam option. The one I have right here is the black. And I really love how sleek this bag ends up looking in the black version. This is a pretty decently sized bag. It's about 33 liters, which is the same size as the original. And that was something that I really loved about the original, was just that it kind of walked that line between being a manageable size but still holding enough stuff. And so 33 liters I think is really that sweet spot, and Aer really makes the most of those 33 liters. I think the bag manages to hold everything that I would need for a week to 2 week trip very easily without making the bag look extremely bulky. And I also love that they kept the 4 compression straps on the side of the bag. And so that adds a little bit of versatility. So if you don't have as much stuff, you can compress it down to help keep things tighter. You can use that to attach something like a sweater, or if you arrive at your destination and you want to try to use this as a day pack, you can compress it down to a really slim form factor. And even though the bag still looks pretty big, it's kind of tall, so it wouldn't be an ideal bag to use as a daily bag. When compressed down with the compression straps, you can still use it as a day bag in a pinch. And so as I explored the bag and kind of looked at all the different changes that had happened, it seemed to me that one of the big things that Aer focused on was just kind of minimizing the clutter on the bag, making it more streamlined, making it lighter, removing a lot of what might have been considered excess in the original. And I think all that contributes to helping to make this a little bit easier to use as a day bag if you wanted to. As I mentioned, I think it's a little bit big to use as a daily bag on a regular basis, but if you're on a trip and you just don't want to pack that additional bag, this could work as well. And so continuing on with the outside of the bag, Aer has kept the side handle that it included in the original travel pack, which allows you to carry this as kind of a briefcase style if you don't want to wear it on your back for a little bit. And it has the same kind of thick seatbelt material that they've used in a lot of their other handles in the past, so it's really comfortable to hold, and it just kind of hides here in the back behind the water bottle pocket, which I'll talk about in a second. So it's really nice that that's very subtle and it just works well. And then the top handle is also very thick, very comfortable to hold. This changed a little bit from the original bag. The original travel pack had a bulkier handle on the top, and it had kind of a removable grip that added a little bit of extra padding, so I kind of like that it had that removable padding on the original one, but this handle is a little bit more streamlined. It blends into the bag a little bit better, so it has kind of less stuff sticking up off the top, so I can see why they would want to make that change. And the handle that they've chosen to include here is still very comfortable. It feels like it's going to hold up really well, and it's nice and thick for when you want to pick the bag up or even hang it up somewhere, so great job there. As I mentioned a second ago, the bag has a nice water bottle pocket on the outside. It's very similar to the one on the original travel pack. Of all the travel bags I've used, this is one of my favorite implementations of a water bottle compartment because I feel like it's just kind of perfectly sized. Like, it holds a decently sized water bottle, so what I have here is the same water bottle that you've seen in all my other videos. And I really like how much space it gives you. You can definitely put something like an umbrella in there if you need to. It comes out a fair amount. And then of course I really love that you can actually zip it closed. And make sure that if you're not carrying something there, this will hug the bag, stay very close to, and keep that clean, slim aesthetic that the bag has. So I really love how well this is implemented, and it was something that I loved about the original as well. So great to see that they've gone ahead and kept that. So an additional feature that was added here to the outside is this plastic ring here that can be used to maybe clip on a light, or combine with a carabiner if you have a bigger water bottle that you want to hang on, or maybe an umbrella or something. I'm not entirely sure what this is meant to be used for, but it's kind of nice to have just extra attachment points, and it's nice that it also blends into the bag pretty well, so if you choose not to use it, it doesn't really obstruct or ruin the look of the bag. So nice little addition there. So moving on to the straps and the back paneling, this is one of the areas where there is a pretty big difference between the original travel pack and this one, and it looked like Aer really focused on redesigning these to match the strap design that they've had on many of the bags that they've released recently, such as the Aer Fit Pack 2, the Aer Duffel Pack 2. So this is the style that they've chosen to go with, and I've been very complimentary of these straps in the past, and they still maintain a very comfortable feeling. They have a nice amount of padding. They're really thick. They have this kind of meshy material here on the straps that's going to help prevent moisture as you're walking around with a lot of weight on your back. I really like how wide the straps are as well. They're a good width so that the bag doesn't dig down into your shoulder and cause fatigue as you're walking around during the day. I also really like the contour shape that Aer has been using in their bags. I think that this provides a good amount of comfort as opposed to straps that just go straight down. So I think that that meshes really well with my shoulders. And then other than that, they have the same adjustable and removable sternum strap that they've had on all the other bags that I've mentioned. And overall the straps are really comfortable. I've worn this with all the same items that I've been using in all my other travel videos, so it's a pretty heavy bag when I pack it out. And so far the straps have been comfortable to wear. I haven't felt too much fatigue. And so I'm a little torn when I compare the straps on this bag to the original. I do think that the ones on the original bag were a little bit kind of bulkier, and they were definitely wider, which is kind of nice when you're carrying a lot of weight. But they also added a little bit of extra weight to the bag itself. They were a little bit more cumbersome as well. So if you did want to try to use this as a daily bag, it was a lot more kind of overkill with the old straps. And in general, they just had a lot of additional straps that were flopping around. One thing I noticed is with the Travel Pack 2, they removed the load lifters that used to be on the straps here, and they moved the attachment point on the straps down. So the bag actually comes up a little bit above the straps. And I've felt that does a pretty good job of keeping the bag close to your back, so I could see why the load lifters would no longer be necessary by moving the straps down a little bit. So far it's been really comfortable. I haven't needed to pull the bag closer to me as I've been wearing it. And as I mentioned, that does remove a lot of kind of the clutter that used to be around here with all the straps. And it just makes it a little bit easier to use as a daily bag. So just a little bit more streamlined approach. I don't think they feel quite as durable or thick as the older ones, but I do feel like they're going to hold up well over the long term. I haven't felt any fear as I've been wearing this around. And as I mentioned before, they're still really comfortable to wear, so I don't think there was any loss from the change there. Continuing on with the back paneling, this is very similar to the back paneling that we've seen in a lot of Aer's other bags, such as the Aer Tech Pack and the Aer Day Pack. And so it's very comfortable. I've always been very complimentary of this material that they use here. It's really soft and feels great as you're wearing it for a long period of time. It has the same meshy material that the straps do, and it has a little bit of elevation here to provide for airflow as you're wearing this on a hot day or something like that. And so one addition to this bag that the original did not have is this suitcase pass-through here. It has a nice thick, again, seatbelt-like material strap that works well for allowing you to rest this bag on your carry-on. As you're walking around the airport, if you don't want to wear this, you can just You can just slide it through the handle on your carry-on using the strap and rest it there. So really nice to kind of have it, and it blends well into the back. So if you don't want to use it, or if you're not traveling with a carry-on, you can just ignore it. But overall, the back paneling is really good. It's been really comfortable to wear. So one of the major new features you'll see here at the bottom is these attachment points, which are meant to combine with a waist strap that Aer is also going to be selling. And so this is a very welcome addition. It was probably one of the few critiques that I had of the original travel pack, was that you didn't have the capability to add a waist strap. Because of the size of the bag and the amount of stuff that it can hold, it tends to get a little bit heavier. And so for people who need a little bit of extra help or support with the weight, the addition of a waist strap was a big request for me from the original. They've created a really nice feeling waist strap. It's very thick. It has the same meshy material and padding that the straps do. So it's really comfortable when you attach it to the bag. It has a similar system to the waist straps that we've seen from other companies such as Nomadic and Wandered. And it's very easy to attach. They have these very simple kind of butterfly clips. It goes through the loop. And as I've been testing the bag out with the waist strap, I do feel like it helps distribute that weight a little bit more and just takes some of that stress off of my shoulders. And so I think the waist straps were really well implemented. I like how long the padding comes out, as opposed to some bags that have the waist straps that the padding is really short. So I feel like they actually do add a lot of help. One thing I noticed about the straps is that they don't have any pockets. A lot of bags like the Tortuga Outbreaker and the Nomadic travel bag, they have pockets on the straps, but I've never felt that those are that useful or safe. So I tend to not really use them, so I don't think it's a huge loss to not include them here. The one thing I will mention about the waist straps is that they are sold separately. They do not come with the bag. So it will add a little bit of cost to the bag, but if you do want the ability to take the straps on and off, it may be worth investing. And as I mentioned, they are pretty high quality, and I think Aer did a good job of designing this, and I'm just glad that the bag now has the capability to add that waist strap. And so moving on to the pockets of the bag, I'll start off with the front, kind of quick access compartment. So you just have this one quick access pocket on the front that's pretty flat, and it takes up about half the height of the bag. And so this has a really nice water guarded zipper, and it also has a zipper garage here to help add a little bit of extra protection from the rain. And I really like that it has these counter pulls here to help make it easy to pull the zipper. This is a very beefy YKK zipper, so you really need to be able to pull on it, and that little tab helps to make it easy to open the zipper. And so this pocket, as with a lot of these quick access compartments on the front, is pretty slim. It's kind of hard to put anything too bulky in there, but it's nice to have something that you can, reach quickly when you're moving to the airport. And so currently what I have in here is the GoRuck wire dock, which is something I've been using recently, especially for pockets like these. I think it works really well for holding a lot of my tech gear, just, cables. And this is where I have my USB hub, my PowerBot 5-port USB adapter that I've used in the past. And so all the cables that I want to have quick access to, I kind of have in here. And I did a video for this a little while back, and I'll make sure to include a link to that if you want to check that out and see the items that I have in there. But this pocket, even though it's pretty slim, it still does a good job of making it easy to access something like your Kindle or a guidebook, or if you want to put some documents in here that you need to get to quickly, it's nice that you can get there. And there's not really any internal organization, so it's just a very simple pocket, but I think it's still nice to have the ability to grab something quickly right from the front. And so the next pocket I want to talk about is actually the shoe compartment on the bottom of the bag. And so the original travel pack also included a similar shoe compartment. The one thing I noticed that changed here is that there's no longer any ventilation holes. So the original bag had 2 holes that allowed, if you had wet clothes in there, or if your shoes were moist, it allowed it to air dry a little bit. And so that has been removed on this bag. And so I can imagine that maybe that was removed to add a little bit more water resistance to the bag. One thing I would always worry about with the first version of the bag was that if I put it down and the ground was wet, that obviously moisture would seep into whatever was in that pocket. So I could see pros and cons to each approach, but for my personal preference, I do like that the holes were taken away to just make sure that this was a very well protected compartment. The zipper itself has a nice water guard here to help keep water out. And so other than that, the compartment is very similar. It still can hold about the same amount as the original shoe compartment on the bag. And so I typically manage to squeeze 2 pairs of shoes in here. So my shoe size is about 11 and a half. And so as I've done in all my other videos, what I have in here is kind of a flat pair of Converse type shoes, and then my Toms. And I'll talk a little bit more about how the shoe compartment affects the internal volume of the bag in a little bit. But overall, I really like having this separation of the shoes from the rest of the items of the main compartment. And I'm very impressed always with how much I'm actually able to fit in this compartment. So if I have a bulkier pair of shoes, I can probably only fit 1 pair in. And according to Airsight, you can fit up to about a size 13. I would imagine that depends on how bulky the shoes are. And this also works well if you have a bathing suit that's wet or something, or just dirty clothes. You can separate it in here. It's nice that you can pull the lining out from the inside of the bag and just clean it or let it air dry. So even without the holes, you can still pull it out and you won't have to worry about moisture building up in there long term. And so before diving into the next pocket, One thing I want to call out is another feature that Aer has added on the travel pack is the addition of lockable zippers. And this is a great feature to include in any travel bag just to add a little bit of extra security. So it's great to see that all the compartments that would have access to any delicate items, so the front organizational compartment, the laptop compartment, and the main compartment are all lockable. So I currently have a very simple cable combination lock that I use in a lot of my trips, but I'm really glad that that was added to just help add a little bit of security to the bag. And it also helps keep the zippers closer together to provide extra protection against the elements. And so this front kind of organizational tech compartment, I guess you could call it, stayed pretty similar to the original. The design of this actually very closely matches the front pockets of the Aer Tech Pack and Day Pack. It has almost the exact pocket layout. And so there's a lot of really great organization offered in here. And this is a great pocket to use if you are going to use this as a daily bag to work from a coffee shop or something. You can kind of have all your accessories organized. And so just going through the different pockets that it has on the inside, the first thing here in the back is kind of a really big compartment that goes all the way down to the bottom pretty much. And this would be a great spot to put a magazine or a really thin book or a folder with receipts and things like that. Currently what I have in here is just my Kindle. That fits in there very comfortably. And so this is just a really big, simple pocket. It's not padded or anything. And one thing to note is that if the main compartment of the bag is really full, it could get tricky to use this because it will be pushed up against all the item in your main compartment. So just something to note there. They have a really quick access zipper compartment here, which is nice for holding smaller accessories and preventing things from just floating around. I don't really have too much in here at the moment because a lot of my smaller accessories are in the GoRuck wire dot, but I have my Apple Magic Mouse in here. And there's a lot of space here. I've been really impressed with just how much can fit in this zipper compartment. And I like that they kept the lanyard with a little hook to attach your keys so that you can find those easily. Currently what I have in here is my Gerber shard. And I really like kind of the length of the lanyard. I wish it was slightly longer, but it's still a pretty decent length to allow you to, pull it out easily. The clip itself is just a very simple plastic clip, but it works well, and it seems like it's going to hold up to longer term use. Next up, you'll see that the bag has a bunch of different slip pockets that are very flexible and pretty big, so they're great for holding maybe bulkier items that you might have, like a portable hard drive or external battery or something like that. Currently what I have in this one here is just my Field Notes notebook. But as you can see, it fits almost my whole hand, and you can definitely put a bunch of different accessories there. Next to that, there's two compartments for pencils or a stylus. So currently what I have in here is just a very simple stylus and laser pointer combination. And then next to that is like a combination slip pocket. So this has kind of a normal size slip pocket in the back, and then it has a meshy, stretchy slip pocket on the front. And so the back compartment is very similar in size to the first one that I showed here. So they're very simple, just very easy to put something bulkier in there. Currently what I have in that pocket in the back is just my GoPro Hero 3 Plus. And that fits in there very comfortably. One thing to note here is that if you put something bulky in the back pocket, it gets a little bit tricky to use the mesh pocket on the front because the bulkier item takes up a lot of the space. So not a big deal, but just something to note. So in that case, with the GoPro, it didn't allow me to use the mesh pocket for much. And then on the bottom of the compartment, there's two more slip pockets that are a little bit bigger. They're a little elevated off the ground too, so anything that you put in here, you don't have to worry about it touching the ground, so that's a little bit nice. This area changed a little bit from the original travel pack. So the travel pack originally had a compartment here that kind of closed with a little flap, and it seemed to be a little padded. So I do miss that compartment because I felt like it was nice to be able to put maybe a camera in there or something a little bit more delicate as opposed to just having it in a straightforward slip pocket like this. But overall, it did add a little bit of bulk, and it was kind of hard to get to, whereas these slip pockets are very easy to access, and they're very spacious, so they can definitely be useful for bigger accessories. And I don't typically use these all that much, but I really like that they kind of flatten back against the bag really well, so they don't get in the way if you don't want to use them as you're organizing your stuff in this compartment. So next up, I want to talk about the laptop compartment, and this is another compartment that changed a pretty good amount from the original travel pack, and I think a lot of the changes are really nice. And so the first thing to call out is that this compartment is now lockable. The original laptop compartment was not, so that's definitely nice to have a little bit of extra security. This compartment also has a really, really good looking water guard. So it definitely feels like your laptop is going to be very protected against the elements if you happen to get caught in some rain. So really nice to see the addition of a better water guard there. Another change is that the zipper, as opposed to just being kind of a top-loading zipper, now comes down further on the side, which makes grabbing your laptop a lot easier as you're going through TSA. So I'll actually go ahead and open the compartment up now. So it's really nice that this wide opening makes it very easy to just reach in, grab your laptop very easily. There's plenty of space. The compartment itself can hold up to a 15-inch laptop, maybe even a 17-inch. This is a really big compartment, definitely up to a 15-inch. Currently what I have in here is my 13-inch Touch Bar MacBook Pro, and that fits in there very easily. As I mentioned, the compartment is well padded. There's tons of space. I really like how wide the opening is. It's very easy to grab. and get the laptop in and out. I do wish that the laptop compartment had some sort of kind of felt lining, or even the same soft material that the original had. Would be nice to just add a little bit of extra protection against scratching. I did check, and I'm glad to see that the bottom of the laptop compartment is pretty well padded. It has some padding that helps keep the laptop lifted above the ground. So overall, I think the laptop compartment is really well implemented. I do like some of the changes that were made, and I definitely think it does a better job with security and the ability to access quickly than the original Travel Pack did. So great implementation there. Next up, I want to take a look at the quick access compartment here on the top. As with all of Aer's other bags, they always do a great job of including a quick access compartment that's really well implemented, that's very easy to get to, and it always seems to provide like a magical amount of space considering how much other stuff is in the bag. And so it can definitely hold the items that I typically want to grab quickly from a pocket like this. So currently what I have in here is my Ray-Ban sunglasses, and then I have a lightning charger for my iPhone. And so I don't really have anything else in there at the moment. I could have probably put something smaller as well if I really needed to squeeze my mouse in, or maybe my AirPods or something like that. They'd probably fit. So it's just a really simple compartment that's very easy to access as you're going through TSA. I typically try to put some of my watch and my wallet in here as well. Even though this takes up volume from the main compartment of the bag, there's still plenty of space to fit the items that I need. I also like that you can pull the compartment out and, clean the lining out if you need to. One thing that Aer hasn't implemented in most of their quick access compartments, but would be nice to see, is maybe just like a felt lining to add a little bit of extra protection against scratches for more delicate items such as sunglasses or phones. But overall, the compartment itself is still really well implemented. So moving on to the main compartment, I'm glad to see that the main compartment hasn't changed too much from the original Travel Pack. Because of all the bags that I've used for one bag travel, this has always been my favorite to pack. It's very simple. It has like a magical ability to not look that big, but I still always manage to get everything that I need to in there very comfortably. And there's still even a little bit of space left over. And so just unhooking all the compression straps, because you need to undo them all in order to access the main compartment. The first thing I'll call out is this compartment is also lockable. So the original did not have a lockable main compartment. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I love that it now has water resistance protection on the zippers where the original did not. But it still has that same great clamshell opening. It opens nice and wide so that you can easily pack and see everything that you have in your bag at once. It's just I love how simple the main area of the main compartment is. It's just a big bucket where I can put all the different items that I want to take with me. As you'll notice, I've included all the same items that I've used in all my other travel bag videos. I definitely want to try to keep that consistent so that you can get a good comparison across all the different bags I review. And so what I currently have in here is my larger double-sided packing cube that has all my shirts and pants and things like that. And then I also have my Beats Solo Wireless 2. Sometimes I want to take the bigger headphones to go on a flight or something like that. Next up, I have an in-case accessory pouch that I've been using as my DOP kit. I've been trying to streamline my toiletries a little bit just to take up a little bit less space. So I really love how compact this is, and it works really well as a DOP kit. So that's been great to use so far. Next up, I just want to call out the space for the shoes in the main compartment. So this here is the area where the shoes that I showed earlier on the main compartment are kept. And so as I mentioned, what I have in here is a simple pair of Converse type shoes and a pair of Toms. And so as you can see, that takes up a fair amount of space in the main compartment. And shoes are bulky, they're always going to take up a lot of space. The nice thing here is that if you don't want to use the shoe compartment, you can actually collapse it down and just ignore it, and it doesn't take up any additional space. So just wanted to call that out and give you a visual of how much space that actually takes up. But I'm still able to fit all the other stuff that I typically take. I have my smaller packing cube with all my underwear and t-shirts and things like that. Here at the top, you can see the quick access compartment that we just reviewed a second ago, and you can see about how far it comes down and how much space it takes out of the main compartment. As I mentioned, I didn't have any issues while packing it out. I felt that I could still use the quick access compartment well enough and not sacrifice any space in the main area. So really great implementation overall. The simplicity of the travel pack has always been something that I really love, and I think it continues that here and still manages to allow me to pack everything that I need. One small change on the flap that happened is that this now includes an additional kind of organizational zippered compartment on the top. It has a nice big mesh pocket here, and this is nice so that you can see what you're actually putting in this compartment. It seems to be pretty spacious. It doesn't have its own volume or anything, so I wouldn't put anything too bulky in here because it would take up space from the main area. But if you have cables or maybe some smaller toiletries you want to put in there, this might be a good spot to put it, or maybe even to separate out dirty clothes. And then on the bottom, it has the same zippered compartment that it had on the original travel bag, which is, again, very slim. I wouldn't put anything bulky in here either, but it's just really nice to have a little bit of separation of all the other stuff that's in this main compartment. So what I currently have in here is just a shoe bag that I use sometimes to either collect laundry, or if my shoes are particularly dirty, I'll put them in here. But other than that, I don't really use these pockets for much. But it's nice for people that maybe don't travel with as many modular accessories that I do, that they have some spaces to organize their stuff a little bit differently. So I think it's really nice to have the extra pocket here at the top. But overall, I'm glad that the main layout of the compartment didn't change, and that it still manages to pack everything just as well as the original travel pack did. And so I've been thrilled as I've been testing the bag out that none of the original magic that was part of this bag was lost, and then a lot of the features that were added will actually enhance how I can use this bag going forward. And so overall, I was really impressed with the Aer Travel Pack 2. I've definitely enjoyed using it for the past couple of weeks, and I think it's a great follow-up to the original travel pack. It maintains the same great features, it has a streamlined, updated look, and it even has a few new features that help make it even more well-rounded and great for one-bag travel. And so I was just really impressed, and I think Aer did a great job of iterating and evolving on what was already an awesome bag. And so as I mentioned earlier, you can purchase the Travel Pack 2 starting today from Aer's website, and it costs about $230, which is a little bit more expensive than the original travel pack. That was $220, so pretty close in price. And so given some of the new features that the bag includes, and also compared with a lot of the other travel bags that are kind of in this price range, I think $230 is a really reasonable price. I still think it's a great deal for the value that you get out of this bag and all the different features that it offers. I was a little bit disappointed to see that the waist strap would have to be purchased separately. Bags like the Tortuga Outbreaker, even though it's a little bit more expensive, it does include some really high quality waist straps, so I always think that's a nice value add. Also, bags like the Nomadic Travel Bag and the Nomadic Travel Pack, they come with their own detachable waist straps, so I think it would have been nice to be able to include the waist straps as part of the higher price with the travel pack. But overall, I still think it's the best overall value that you can get on a travel backpack, and it's just a really small nitpick. So in the past, I did a video comparing some of my favorite travel bags kind of in this $200 to $300 price range. Some of the bags I mentioned in that video were the Manal Carry-On 2.0, which is about $300, as well as the Tortuga Outbreaker, which is about $260. And so we featured a lot of travel bags on this channel. And in that video, I mentioned that the Aer Travel Bag I thought was the best all-around value and just the best bag, the one that I enjoy using the most because of the features and the space and just the overall balance of everything that it has to offer. And so compared with all the bags that I did in that original video and most of the travel bags that I featured on the channel, the Aer Travel Pack 2 still stands out above the rest in my opinion. And so if you guys are looking for a great bag for one bag travel, something that's stylish, that's good quality, and that's going to be great for, you know, a 1 to 2 week trip, I definitely recommend you take a look at the Aer Travel Pack 2. And I definitely recommend you check out all the other bags that are coming out as part of the travel line. They're going to be doing updates to the flight pack. They're going to have a new top kit coming out. And so I'm just really excited to check some of those items out. It looks like Aer's done a great job of updating the travel collection, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else they come out with in the future. And so if you guys would like to check out all the items that are going to be part of the travel collection, or if you'd like to purchase the Travel Pack 2, I'll make sure to include links below to where you can get all these things. And I want to go ahead and thank Aer for sending the bag over for me to test out. If you guys found this video useful, please go ahead and give us a like below. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much.